So in the mid-'80s, that's when you came to Oshkosh
Yeah.
professionally to start the varsity program at Oshkosh. There wasn't really a whole lot of youth soccer going on. Did you get involved in youth soccer at that time?
Yeah, well, Nina had the head start, thanks to people like you and Jim Nash, Harry Kelderman, Adrian Geffen, and in Oshkosh, it was just starting, which was great. So I helped out a little bit with the club and actually coached the U12 team my first summer that I was in Oshkosh to kind of get the lay of the land, and then eventually helped with the club as my kids got older. But I think the big thing I got involved with was teaching courses through the NSCAA and then eventually USSF courses.
The coaching schools.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And then you also were pretty instrumental in bringing one of the top world soccer camps into the area as well, the Winning Mood.
Yeah, and that was kind of fortuitous. It started in Fond du Lac, and I was involved in the planning of that with a few other local folks. John Adama was a main connection with that. He later coached at St. Norbert, was actually at Marion for a couple years, and did a lot of high school coaching through the years as well. And eventually, after a year or two, we moved it up to Oshkosh, and then it really flourished. And at that time, because the internet wasn't there, just access to good instruction, there weren't that many good coaches. It was like this great window in July where for a week or two we could get a bunch of kids in and do a great camp and a great experience, and also kind of a cross-cultural thing because we would bring coaches from the Netherlands over and we would pair them with a U.S. coach. I think they went to other sites. They were in Colorado, they were in the East, etc. We were the only kind of Midwest site. But I found that was a really good window into the world of soccer. And what's fun to see, that generation, ago, now they're the coaches. And a lot of camps like that aren't around as much anymore because the good news is, in a way, they're not as needed because now the coaching acumen has really gone up quite a bit with the start of those camps.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So the Winning Mood, that was started out in Marion College, and then you brought it into here. Now your family, if you're a full-time soccer coach, and you had a big passion for that, your family must have loved the game too and been involved.
Right, and none of that would have been possible without my wife, Joanne, or everybody knows her as Buzz. And she knew what she was getting into before we were married, but we were probably one of the few families where usually the kids are dragging their parents to a soccer practice or whatever. We were the parents dragging our kids to when we were playing in the co-ed leagues and so on. And she was actually a pretty good goal scorer for. She didn't get to play as a youth quite as much, but she adapted to the game. But she's always loved sport and really enjoyed the opportunities working with the kids doing stuff, and then just also being very supportive in my doing clinics, camps, and then recruiting and all the college stuff, because that takes a lot of time. So we've always been a good team that way, and so the success in any of those things has to be connected to her too.
We're very grateful for both of you and Buzz. Yeah. Now, you brought up international soccer, basically from the Netherlands, that connection. But there was also a connection with Spain through the international group.
So I retired from coaching at UW Oshkosh after the 2009 season, and I was still involved with coaching club stuff, but there's a pediatrician out of Sheboygan, his name's Walt Howard, and he kind of set up an international soccer trip for his two daughters at a time about 12 years ago or so, to play in an international tournament in San Sebastian, Spain. And his daughters are long since graduated from college, etc., but he decided to keep that going, so he incorporated, it's called Wisconsin International Soccer, where they'll usually take a youth boys team and a girls team over to get this kind of international experience. And that tournament now has 600 teams from like 30 countries, and it's just a great experience. I'm actually going with a team of U16 boys this summer. That'll be my 7th time I've done that with that group.
How awesome. Yeah.
And I always say, it was the same when I used to take my college teams over to Holland. We'd go every 3 years. The kids would go over thinking and talking about soccer, but they come back thinking and talking about the world. And that's the beauty of soccer. You can be anywhere, and soccer is part of the culture typically.
You are so right. You touched a lot of people, and you've helped us get soccer going in this area. Thanks very much. Great talking to you.
Thank you, Tony.
Say hi to Buzz for me.
I will do that. Thank you.
You bet. So it's a two-parter. This the last one was 8 minutes, 6 minutes. Well, if it isn't working, we can always